Hello and welcome to Learning Music with Pat. I'm going to start out today by showing you some Hall's, a couple of Hall's flutes. Now Hall, I don't know what his first name is, he made a series of flutes and they're like glass, you know, they're probably a plexiglass, but they're glass flutes. And there is a story behind them, but let me show you this first. These are beautiful instruments, hand blown, hand done, hand painted. And I'm just going to put this around, kind of take it away from my jacket so that you can see it. And as I just turn them around, this is the piccolo. This is the smaller one. He made several of these, and the story behind it is this. Yeah, I'll hold it out here. The story behind it is this, that he as a child loved the flute. He wanted to know how to play the flute. And of course, for some reason, his parents couldn't get him a flute. They couldn't afford it. So he decided on his own that he was going to make his own flutes. Now, that's what I've heard. Oh, this is gorgeous. Thank you, Rick. Perfect. Let me just turn this around so you can see the whole thing. And then we'll do the same for the other one when I start to talk about it, because I brought two of them with me. Plexiglass, probably. That's the top of it. This here, where you see the hole, is going to be the labium. Whoops. And then you're going to have, it's a flat top, and you blow it, it just blows through. Now, every instrument has got to have an area where the air will only go in one direction. So on the flutes, you have a cap. On the other instruments that you blow into, like the recorders, your mouth acts as that cap, so the air is forced in one direction. This is an instrument that you blow across like you would a regular flute, and there's no cap on it, but regular cap, but they've closed the top of it. The top of it is not open, and that acts as a cap, so the air has to go in one direction. And this is a piccolo. Now, he made several of them, different sizes for different, you know, he had an alto, he had a bass, he had many different sizes. I bought two of them. I bought the piccolo and I bought the flute, and there it is. And you can see how nice that is, how well done that is. He actually it was hand blown, it was hand painted. It does have a very nice tone to it, and I tell people when they look at it, you can do anything to it, but you can't drop it. If you drop it, you're in real trouble. But there is this one. Now, this is a smaller one. It is a piccolo. He has an alto, he has a bass, and they get fairly long. Now, the other one I bought, since they're fairly expensive, I just bought two. This is the flute. Let me hold it out like this, and I'll rotate it, and maybe hold it so you can see some of the paintings on it, the hand paintings, they're on top. He doesn't paint this all the way down because, of course, it's long. So if we can get that in and we can see what the top looks like. Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you very much. That's perfect. You can see the hole that's used as a mouthpiece, so it's kind of like a fife. We're a little out of focus here, but there it is. It's coming back. You can see the top of it. The top of it is closed, just like the other one, and acts like a cap. It has a round mouthpiece, so it looks kind of like a fife in that regard. And then you have all this hand painting. I'm going to turn this around. Very, very beautiful. It's all hand done. All of his instruments are all hand done, and they're gorgeous, and they play well. They play well. I can't say they're easy to play because the mouthpieces are so small. Now, I can't remember how large the basses and the altos are, but they're like 1/3 the length of this, so they get to be fairly large. because, you know, with the instruments like saxophones, you have that bell and it twists up. Otherwise, if it was flat out and it was straight, you would have an awful lot longer instrument than it is. So a lot of the instruments that have these, they have their tubing and it's all curled up. It's because it saves a lot of space, because if you had it flat out, then you would have an instrument that was really too large to handle. So this is it. And it's a very beautiful instrument. So I want to show this to you. I have done a solo on this one. And it's a very nice instrument. So at any rate, there is such a variety of instruments, and I have had these in times past, but you might not have remembered it, or at that time you might not have even been watching. So there they are, hand blown. Now, I used to get a music magazine from a company that sold various musical items, and it came out of Portland, Maine. And I haven't gotten any magazines from them, catalogs from them for a long time, so I'm not even sure whether they're making them or not. I have seen them advertised in other magazines and in other catalogs where I have bought instruments, but I don't know if they're still making them. But they are beautiful instruments, all hand done, and as I said, the story is that his parents couldn't afford to buy him a flute, so he decided to make his own, and he tried various mediums to do that and worked with it, but he came out with a very skillfully done flute, like the recorders and the penny whistles, because it works, it's in pitch, not easy to play, but it works and it's in pitch, and they are beautiful instruments. And I've had, when I used to have my counseling offices, I used to display them. And people would come in, and I know they sold a group of them because I had people come in who wanted to buy them. And so I would give them the information they needed to order them, and they would buy them. So at any rate, they are very, very nice. So I wanted to bring those in. Now, I'm going to do a quick review here of what I did at the end of last session, and that's just review with you the timing, and then go ahead and play a song, and I did fiddle around and play with it with some of the instruments so you get an idea what it's like, but there's a reason for me to do that. Here is your whole note. If it's 4/4 time, then you have 4 beats to a measure. So therefore, this is going to be worth 4 beats, 2 half notes, each one worth 2 beats, 4 quarter notes, each one worth 1 beat, and then 1/8 notes, which is a half of a quarter, and that's just twice as much. You have 8 1/8 notes. Now, if you're going into 3/4 time, you can't have 2 half notes in a measure that's 3/4 time, because you're going to have an extra beat. So instead, you take 1 half note that's worth 2 beats and just put a dot. Or you can put a half note plus a quarter beside it. It's going to be the same thing, and then just put a hold over it. It's going to be the same thing. You'll get your 3 beats. Or you can use 3 of the quarter notes, and you can use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 1/8 notes. So that's the way it is. Now you can have all kinds of timing in music. You could have 12/8. You could have 16/8. You could have 16 24s. I mean, you can make up whatever you want to, but it's always the same. If you have 3 beats on the top, it tells you what number of beats there are in the measure. In this case, 4 beats to a measure. In this case, 3 beats to a measure. And then this tells you the kind of note that it is. It would be like the equivalent of 4 quarter notes. It would be the equivalent of 3 quarter notes in order to get the 3/4 time. So you can change it around, and I'm basically showing you what the average is. I'm going to now switch over. This is a song which I wrote this morning, actually. And the reason that I wrote it, in order to be able to play music, you have to know timing, which is why I went over that chart. You have to be able to know timing. And if you can count, this is 2 beats, this is 3 beats, this is 1 beat, then you're all right. Now what I've done here is I've had a series of 1/8 notes, and quarter rest, and occasionally quarter notes. And I want you to see the difference in how you time it. So I'm going to play this. I'm not going to play it fast. Then I'm going to go over with it and play it up to speed. As I said, I wrote it this morning. Now, I could give you exercises, so let me mention one more thing. What's the difference between a song and an exercise? In an exercise, you repeat patterns so you understand. You're practicing different notes, and you're practicing the fingerings of them, you're practicing the time of them, and you're learning how to play. The thing is, I could have you sit here and say, okay, we're going to do eighth notes. I could have you do eighth notes or whatever, and you tongue them. But I rather arrange it in a kind of song with some differences. Now, there's not much difference between a song and an exercise. You can write an exercise so it's like a song. A song has a melody, it has a harmony, and sometimes has a bridge in the middle, and we'll go over that with some other music I've written, and then you recoup the song again. It's just very interesting how songs are written, and I want to go into that with you too, although I probably won't have time to do that today. So I'm going to play this. If you look at the time signature, 4/4 time, that means that all of the quarter notes have one beat, and the eighth notes have a half a beat. And you know the eighth notes because they have the flags on them. These lines here are all flags. The stem is these notes that stick up. There's a little line that sticks up. That shows you that that's the quarter note. So I'm not going to play this fast at first, and then we'll go over it. And I'm doing it 4/4 time, one sharp, which means it's in the key of G. This is a 2-beat rest, 1, 2, 3. That's a 1-beat rest. So since it's 4 beats to a measure, I have 2 eighth notes. That means that's the 4th beat. Those 2 notes are the 4th beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have the regular notes here. So let me play this. I didn't put any repeat signs or anything like that, so let me dissect it for you. We already went over this measure. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Why? Because 1, quarter note gets a beat. These are half a beat, so this would be 2, and then this is a quarter note. This is going to be the 3, and then this is going to be 2 eighth notes for that 4th beat. 4, and. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and these are practically all eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3, that's one note, it's a quarter note. Then this is the 4th beat, 4, and. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and. Over here, I've changed the notes, but the same pattern applies. G is that quarter note, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have a combination there of your quarter notes and your eighth notes. And I haven't gone into half notes and all of that. That song just came to me. I woke up in the morning and I says, wow, that's a song, because music runs through my head all the time. That's not unusual. But a lot of this that I create for students, most of my writing is for students, and I can write it down, and it's going to be a lot more pleasant to play, and you're going to learn a lot more than if I just give you a bunch of eighth notes and a bunch of quarter notes to play, which a book might do to you, but this is just a more fun way of doing it. You're also combining how to count with the measures. 4 beats to a measure, 1, 2N, 3, 4N, and you've got it all the way through. And it also has a number of F sharps. Now I put F sharp in the signature, in the key signature, so you know that every time you come to an F, there's one, there's one, there's one. I mean, there's groups of them all the way through it. You automatically sharpen it. You sharpen it because it's in the key signature, the time signature to do that. Now, if I wanted you to play an F that was natural, I would just put a natural sign in front of the note, and that would become an accidental because that's not the way you normally play it, but that's the way I want it for one particular note. And any note that was an F in that measure, such as this one would be all accidentals, and you would play it naturally. And then if I wanted to play this one natural and I wanted it to go back to being sharp, I'd put another sign, the sharp sign here, and that nullifies the sign that I would have over there. It seems to be complicated when I describe it. When you play it, you get so used to it. So I'm going to play it again, and I'm going to do it faster this time. And I'd like to have you look at this. I want you to see if you can follow it. I think you can follow it because it's a fairly easy piece to play. So let me do it faster. You can play it as fast as you want, but when you start to practice, always start it slow and tongue every note. And that means, of course, that you have to know how to tongue. And if it's slurred, there would be a slur mark on it, and you would need to know how to slur. Slurring is particularly easy. But as I was playing a little while ago, showing you an example of eighth notes, if you don't know how to tongue, you just can't play anything like that. So when you tongue, your mouth is about 1/3 of the way up, like this. Your front teeth are on the top of the instrument. Your bottom teeth are covered by your lip. So when you put the instrument in your mouth, the teeth will go on top, and the lip, of course, in front of it. You don't even see the teeth. And the bottom, the lip is curled. And then, of course, the sides of your mouth are kind of squished together, and then you can play it. That's the embouchure. And then to tongue, you have to bring your tongue up to the mouthpiece. It's in your mouth, but you can do it. Bring your tongue right up to the mouthpiece, blow into it, and then immediately withdraw your tongue. Now it's harder to explain it because you can't see it. There's no way you can see it, but you can feel it in your mouth. That tongue goes right up to this mouthpiece here, where the aperture, where the opening is to blow the air in. And then when you tongue it, you withdraw the tongue and let the air flow for as long as it needs to flow. And if you have a lot of notes to tongue, it's like ta 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 ta. You know, you're really doing that ta ta ta. If you were to say ta, how would you do it? You'd bring your tongue up to your teeth, ta, and then you'd let the tongue drop or pull the tongue back. You wouldn't keep it there. Ta, you know, it just wouldn't be natural to do that. If you say tone, if you mouth the word tone, you bring your tongue right up to right up to the bottom of your teeth in the inside, and then as soon as you do that ta, you pull the tongue back. That's how. If you just want to say ti, ta, tu, to, you know, and that's what you're going to automatically do when you say those words. That's what you do when you have an instrument in your mouth and you're trying to tongue. You're basically doing the same thing, but you're not saying the ta, to, you're just, you know, you just do it by taking the air. Now, it's worth doing exercises. That was like an exercise. I just did it off the top of my head. I didn't have anything written down. But it's good to do that. Keep ta-ta-ta-ta, you know. When you do that and you just keep doing it, you will get so you'll be able to tongue fast. Now, you don't always have to tongue fast for every song, but when it's needed and a person has written a composition with a lot of fast tonguing, you really have to be able to do it. You cannot just blow into an instrument, get a tone, and do that through the music. You have to be able to tongue, and if you can't, then you're not going to sound good at all. Well, we're just about at the end of time, so I'm going to close it here. We'll go over more music. Hopefully, I'll bring in some more instruments for you to see as well. So we'll see you next time. Please join me then.